Hey, what's going on, everybody on YouTube? Steve here, Raiken Profit, RaikenProfit.com, coming back to you guys with another video. Hopefully you guys are having a great day today. In today's video, I want to talk about how to start an Amazon FBA book business with very little money. And it's going to be a Q&A session. I've got a bunch of questions that you guys have been asking in previous videos, and I want to answer those for you. But that's one of the greatest things about getting started selling on Amazon with books is it does take very, very little money. So I want to keep today's show very, very focused on selling books in Amazon FBA. If you guys have any questions about, Shopify or eBay or affiliate marketing or personal branding or self-development or anything like that, I'm going to ask you to keep that for another video. I want to keep this very, very focused on selling books on Amazon FBA. But like I said, I have a bunch of questions that I already have set aside. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask away. And I'm going to just look in the comments and shout some people out. We got Lala Kitty saying hello. Mainly Myrtle. Are you in Myrtle Beach? I'm actually thinking about possibly going out to Myrtle mid-November or possibly Fort Lauderdale. You and me +3. I like that name. What's going on? Hey, Lauren, good to see you. Deb, Tracy, La Locomotion. Good morning. We got a lot of people in the house right now. So if you guys have any questions about selling books on Amazon FBA, drop a question down below. I've been selling books on Amazon FBA for about 5 years. I sell these books part-time. There's certain times of the week where I don't buy any books and I'm not focusing on my Amazon business. There's other times where I'm spending 20, 25 hours per week just going crazy, going to book sales, thrift stores, garage sales, sourcing off of Craigslist. There's so many ways to get books. But I've got about 4 or 5 years under my belt. I've actually helped my mother about 5 years ago to start a business on Amazon as well, selling books. And she's getting ready to retire. Literally, I think she's got like 15 more days. Mama Profits has got 15 more days until she retires. So she's going to be going full-time into selling books. But I've learned a lot. I've made a lot of mistakes, and I'm certainly not the, go-to expert when it comes to selling books. I do know a lot of information, but there's so many other people out there who have great information. Reezy Resells, follow him on YouTube. He's killing it, and he's like full-time, full blast. But I've got a good amount of knowledge, so I want to share with you guys what I know. And yeah, good to see you guys here. What's the best way to get started? Honestly, I think the best way to get started is to go to a library sale or a church sale or a garage sale, probably a library sale. Maybe like a smaller one that's not super, super competitive, and start buying books. You're going to need to learn how to scan and analyze books, but set aside, let's say you already know how to do that. I would go to a library sale, and there's actually a website called, I believe it's, let me look it up, booksalefinder.com. Yeah, that's it, booksalefinder.com, and I will link that up down below in the description right now. If you go to booksalefinder.com, this website, you could literally just put in your, I'm linking it up down below. You could put in your location, and it'll tell you all the book sales, the library book sales in your area. Now, I do want to warn you, certain sales that are really, really big, they're going to be competitive, and there's going to be a lot of scanners there, and they're going to have the Bluetooth scanners, the scan fobs, the, what are those other ones called? The KD, I don't know. There's another scanner that's really good. It's actually a very good, cheap alternative. I've never used it before, but I've heard good things about it. You're going to see a lot of competition here, but you can get these books for 10 cents, 20 cents, sometimes even less, 40, 50 cents. And you can buy these books, for pennies on the dollar. And it's just a great way to kind of get your feet wet. So I would say, if you don't already have books laying around your house, first of all, start scanning books. If you're a college student or you went to school within the last year or two, start scanning the books you have around your house, because if they're not super outdated, 5, 6, 10 years old, there's still a good chance that these classrooms are using them. So I would actually start with your house, start scanning the books. And if you don't have any books around the house, then start going to the library sales. I'd say the next best option would be thrift stores. But thrift stores, again, they do have quite a bit of competition. We're actually lucky in my area. There's not a ton of competition anymore since the fees and since things have been getting a little more competitive with books, and Amazon's been squeezing some people out of the market, which it's no surprise. They always do it. There's a lot less scanners. There's a lot less competition, but the prices are a little higher at thrift stores. And if you are in a very, how do I say it? If you live near like universities or you live near college campuses, there's probably going to be a lot of competitors in your area. But either way, I would say start with around your area, start around your house scanning books, go to library sales. You can check out booksalefinder.com and then maybe start visiting your thrift stores. I find that Goodwill's the cheapest outside of like mom and pop stores. Savers is getting kind of crazy. Salvation Army, you can actually find some good deals. At my local Salvation Army, they have, what is it? It's a deal. I think it's 4 books for $1. So that's not bad at all. But the problem is there's just not a ton of really profitable inventory at my Salvation Armies. But you got to just go and experiment. And I say this all the time. Books might not be for you. Clothing might be your opportunity. Clothing might not be your opportunity. Books might be your opportunity. Maybe it's neither of those. Maybe it's electronics. Maybe it's, I don't know, board games or media, or maybe you have one of those computer outlet stores that Goodwill has, and there's all these electronics and stuff. That might be your opportunity. So you've got to experiment with different like locations, whether it's library sales, garage sales, right? If you live in like Austin, Texas or Florida, you've got so many opportunities with garage sales because it's warm all year long. Whereas in Connecticut, you know, we have garage sales for like less than half the year and it gets too cold. So hopefully that answers your question right there. Let me go back into the comments. All right, let's get back in the comments and see what's going on. If I have a book that is not in FBA, but I ship myself and I price the same or lower than an FBA seller, will mine sell first? So if I have a book that is not an FBA, but I ship myself, okay. So what Tom is asking is if Tom is going to sell his book as a merchant, because there's 2 ways to sell your book on Amazon FBA. There's a merchant and then there's FBA. Selling as a merchant is the same as eBay, right? You list your item, you keep it at your house. When it sells, you pick it, you pack it, you ship it, you do customer service, all that normal stuff. That's a merchant. FBA is sending all your books into the FBA warehouses. These are storage centers that are located all across America. And when it sells, Amazon will ship it prime. They'll deal with customer service. They'll ship it 2 days. There's a lot of benefits to it, but it's a great way to leverage it. The fees are going to be a little higher. But Tom's asking if I have a book that I'm selling as a merchant and I ship it myself and I price it the same as an FBA seller or lower, will mine sell first? Usually not. People on Amazon want to purchase through Prime. They want to buy through Amazon. They trust Amazon. They know that Amazon's going to ship it on time. They know that Amazon's going to take care of them in terms of customer service. People want to buy through Amazon FBA sellers. And more often than not only can you sell your book for more money on Amazon. So for example, say we have a book. This is actually a book that I'm reading right now. I love this book. It's called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. It's a great, great book. If I was to price this the same as an FBA seller as a merchant, this would probably sell first on FBA. Even if I price this a couple dollars more FBA versus a couple dollars less as a merchant, this would still probably sell faster. People just like to buy through FBA. I would like to say that it's probably going to depend on what type of book you have. If, you know, for example, say you're selling like an accounting textbook and there's a $40, $50 difference. Yeah, the merchant offer is going to probably sell first. But again, it depends. If somebody's in a pinch, if somebody's in a squeeze and need that book quickly, they'll pay 30, 40, 50 bucks more at times. Maybe that's a little too much, but they'll pay at least 10, 15, 20% more to get that book quick. So I always sell as an FBA seller. I don't sell as a merchant. If you have the ability to access lots of books and get them very, very cheap, I know a lot of people who are killing it as a merchant. But for the average person to go into garage sales, going to thrift stores, going to book sales, and you're not selling hundreds of thousands of books per month, you're probably going to want to sell as an FBA seller. Again, you're going to be able to leverage your time by shipping it off to FBA centers, and typically it's going to sell a little faster. So Alejandro Hernandez is asking, hey, can you talk about the best triggers to scan books? So what Alejandro is talking about is there's a software, a scanning app that's called FBA Scan, and you can actually set up triggers. I've actually never gotten into this because I just haven't gotten into that high volume of books. I do use FBA Scan. I do primarily use Amazon, the Amazon seller app now, since I am selling part-time and I'm not selling a very, very high volume. But essentially, if you've ever gone to a thrift store and you've seen somebody scanning with a Bluetooth scanner, it's actually this device that connects via Bluetooth through your phone. You can actually scan the books. And if you ever seen somebody with headphones on, and maybe their phone is just laying up against the shelf and they're scanning, but they're not looking at their phone, and you're wondering, how do they know what a good deal is? You can actually use FBA Scan to set up triggers. And essentially, it's an algorithm that will make a noise or some type of indication if the book is a good buy or not. So you can set up triggers based on rank, based on selling price, based on FBA versus merchant, based on profit margins, and it'll actually make a noise in your ear or some other type of signal, from my understanding, to indicate that it's a good buy. I don't have a ton of experience with that, but I would just go on YouTube and type in Amazon or FBA Scan triggers, and I'm sure there's some really good videos about that. I know my buddy Jim Pickens, if you see the first link down below, I'm actually an affiliate for Bookselling 101. My good friend Jim Pickens, he has a whole course on selling books, and I know he's got a bunch of modules talking about setting up the best triggers, FBA Scan, a lot of advanced stuff that I actually don't have the knowledge to explain to you guys, but you can check that out down below. Hey, Thriller Gorilla, what's going on? Good to see you. Melissa says, I am finding a lot of books that have low profit. Seems like a lot of work for the time to find books that are profitable. Am I doing something wrong? Time seems better spent on retail arbitrage. Let me put it this way. It depends where you live. If you live near a college campus, or you live near a school, like for example, we have UConn about 25 minutes away. So we get a lot of the UConn textbooks in our area. If you don't live near a school, you might not be able to find very, very profitable books. But it takes time. Like for example, we know our thrift stores, our Savers and our Goodwill. When we go there, we know what the latest color is. We know what books have been sitting around for a while. We know where the new fresh books are put out. We have connections with the people at the thrift stores. They let us know when good stuff comes out. So, you know, it takes time. Sometimes it takes 30, 40, 50 scans to find a profitable book. It's just the way it is. Again, you know, I was at Goodwill the other day and I noticed that there was a whole bunch of brand new textbooks at the bottom of the shelf. And, you know, we had 9, 10, 12 profitable books selling for $20, $30, $40, $50 plus, all back to back to back to back to back. That doesn't happen all the time for us in Connecticut. But it's one of those things where sometimes you get lucky. And other times you don't. Sometimes you have to deal with those books that are only selling for $7, $8, $10 profit. But you know, it's hit or miss at times with books, just like anything else. So it depends on your area. It depends on how much time you're putting in. And also, the more books you scan, the better chance you have of finding a profitable book. So to answer your question, sometimes, yeah, you're going to be scanning books and, you know, the profit margins are going to be so low, it's just not worth it. But that's kind of the way it goes. I find it hard to believe, Steve, you're over the top knowledge. Hey, I appreciate that. I like to stay humble, and I'm always learning. So there are people out there who know much more about books than I do. But you know, that's the thing about books. You don't have to be like you don't have to know everything, right? Like selling books is great because you can get started just with the Amazon seller app, right? You can get the Amazon seller app for free. Just sign up for an Amazon account and you could start scanning books, right? And this app is amazing because it'll give you all different types of indicators. For example, this book right here, this isn't a profitable book. I bought this for $1 for myself, but I could see that it has an 81,000 rank. This book is probably selling 4, 5, 6 times a day. It has 4,793 reviews, so it has a ton of social proof. I can see it's selling for, well, $349 as a merchant, 1,400 offers, 171 offers as an Amazon FBA offer. If I purchased this for free and I sold it for $4.75, I would lose 64 cents, right? But this app gives you all the information you need. How fast it's selling, social proof. Are people interested in it? How many merchants? How many FBA sellers? What's the profit margins? And you can actually go into this app and set different, like different fees and stuff. Like for example, you can set what the shipping rate is to ship in the books, and you could set everything up so you can get exactly down to like the last penny, how much money you'll actually make off of a book. So get the Amazon Seller app if you're just getting started. Can you explain the $3.99 shipping credit? So what Wright is asking is what's the $3.99 shipping credit? That's actually a credit that Amazon will apply to you if you ship as a merchant. So they'll give you $3.99 towards the shipping. Now to ship out a book like this as a merchant, it's probably going to cost you what? I don't know, $2, $3, something like that. So it's actually going towards that. It's a credit towards you shipping. You know, when you're shipping via FBA, you don't get a shipping credit because they're actually subsidizing a very, very low rate for you. Like for example, I could ship off, 30, 40 books to Amazon for $7, $8, right? If I'm shipping from like Connecticut to New Jersey, if I have to ship all over the West Coast, it's going to be double or triple that. But I could usually ship a book FBA 30 to 40 cents. Whereas if I'm shipping as a merchant, it's going to be about $3, which I rarely ever ship as a merchant. But that $3.99 is essentially just like an additional credit they're giving you on top of the selling fee. Noel is asking, love your knowledge. Please talk about rare books, not scannable. I mean, everything is scannable. Like, let me put it this way. If you can't scan, again, when I say scan, I'm talking about you download the Amazon Seller app or you download FBA Scan. You scan the barcode. You see the barcode on the back. You can scan it with the application, and then it'll bring up all the information. Some books don't have a barcode. So what do? Well, Amazon actually has this proprietary software now on their application. I believe it's called Flow, and you can actually scan the cover of the book, and it'll bring up all the information. So if there's no barcode, right, you could scan the front of the cover. If it's not scanning on the cover and nothing comes up, you can actually go inside the book. Let me see if I could find it. Where is it? Usually you'll be able to find the ISBN number, but you can find it inside the inner part of the book. So, everything is scannable in a sense. Again, if you can't scan the barcode, you could scan the cover. If you can't scan the cover, you look at the ISBN number. If there's no ISBN number, if there's no number inside, you actually just type in the title into Amazon and you could find that book. So I don't know a lot about rare books. I'm not a book collector. I have very, very little knowledge when it comes to books. And that sounds a little odd to you. Like you're making a video about how to make money and how to start a business selling books. 2017, you don't have to have knowledge of what books are rare and what books are popular and what books sell for good money. All the money's inside this app right here. Literally, all you do is download the Amazon Seller app, scan the barcode, look it up, or scan the cover, and then it'll give you all the information that you need to know. So should I buy the book or should I not buy the book? A, how much is it costing you? B, what's the rank? Does it have a market? Is it selling? Is there profitability there? That's C. And the cool thing is you can actually choose new or used, what your selling price is. And I'm looking at the app and it'll actually tell you right here. You can put in the selling price. Is it seller fulfilled, Amazon fulfilled? And you could put in the cost to purchase, the cost to ship to Amazon. It'll actually show you what the fees are. So for me to ship this book, Amazon FBA wants $5.39 in fees, which is pretty crazy. If I sell this as a merchant, Amazon will give me $3.99 as a shipping credit. And if I was to sell this, I would actually make a little bit of money. So you don't need to be an expert. You don't need to know what books are rare. Obviously, with time, you're going to learn, what books are rare. And like, there's just certain books that just sell for good money. Obviously, textbooks, anything that's very niche, specific books. There's certain authors, certain book collections that do really, really well. But I'll be honest, I know very, very little about books, but I know how to look. Like, I know what type of books are interesting. Like I said, the niche books, the business books, the accounting books, horseback riding, anything very, very niche and very, very specific, anything about boating, gymnastics. If it's just a really interesting, you're diving deep into a specific topic, if it's weird, if it's unique, if you think to yourself, who in the right mind would ever want this book? Those books tend to do really, really well. But the money is in the app. Once you learn how to analyze the books, that's step number one. And then it's just a matter of learning how to ship in the Amazon FBA warehouses. So yeah, Tom says there are the book experts that know what to look for. We can't be experts in everything. If you have a lot of knowledge as a book expert, you might be able to do a little bit better. But I'll tell you this, I could scan just as fast as you can analyze with your knowledge. So, I mean, whether you have the book knowledge or not, you could just scan really quick. And I mean, you could scan fairly quickly with just the Amazon seller app. If you have a Bluetooth scanner, like a scan fob, there was one time there was a guy who I was at Goodwill with my buddy, and we were both scanning. And he looked at me, and this is what he did. I swear to you, this is what he does. I'm gonna show you exactly what he did. I'm scanning my books. I'm just having fun. And this guy, I'm gonna be him right now. He looks at me and he goes. So I look at him and I'm like, what the fudge is wrong with this guy? Like, why is he shaking his head looking at me? Like, what's his problem? Like, he's just like, but he kept doing it. He kept looking at me just like, oh. He was like disgusted. Like I was, I don't know, like I was doing something wrong. And finally I'm like, what's up, man? How are you? And he's like, man, you guys are just, you guys make me sick. You guys with technology, you're, what did he say? He said something along the lines of, I'm paraphrasing. He's like, you guys are just cheating. Like you guys are cheating, like with what you're doing, scanning books. And I said to him, I said, you can either evolve with technology or you can die with technology. Don't get mad at the market. Don't get mad at technology and softwares and innovation, right? Don't get mad at how things are moving, right? Because I tell you right now, there's a couple of guarantees in life. Number one, you're going to die. It's sad to say, but we're all going to die. Number two, you got to pay taxes, right? Taxes, demand, they want their money. Number three, things are always changing. So if you want to be that expert bookseller and you don't want to learn how to use the Amazon seller app, if you don't want to learn how to set up triggers, if you're going full time and using FBA scan, you want to learn how to use the softwares and inventory lab, and if you don't want to learn how to go FBA, you're going to have 17, 18-year-olds. You're going to have, mama profits. I'm not going to tell you her age, but she's getting ready to retire and she's going to run all over you because she understands the software. She understands the game. She understands, what works and what doesn't. So it's, with books, it's a matter of speed. It's a matter of efficiency. It's a matter of understanding how to analyze a deal. So don't get caught up in, the knowledge aspect of it, so. Okay, Alejandro is asking another question. If the sales rank is high, but the profit is there, should I buy even if I purchase the book at $4? So what is a high rank? Let's answer that question first. A high rank, I would say anything that's over 3 or 4 million rank, right? If I have a book, let me put it this way. Let's say this book is $4. Right? It's a $4 cost and it's selling for $75, but the rank is 3 million. What am I going to analyze? What are my thoughts? Well, first thing I'm going to look at is what are the reviews? Because if the book has 0 reviews, there's a good chance that there's not a lot of social proof there, that might not be a big market. So that's the first thing I'm going to look for, right? The profit's there. The rank is high. I'm going to look at, number one, I want to look at, are there reviews? Number two, I want to take a look at, first of all, I'm going to just assume you're selling as an FBA seller. So if you're selling as an FBA seller, and let's just say it's selling for 75, 4 million rank, let's just say there's like 50 to 80 reviews, 4 or 5 stars. That's good. What's the second thing you want to analyze? Well, the second thing I'm going to look at is what's the price difference between merchant and FBA? If the merchants are at $6 and then FBA is at 75, that's a little iffy. That's a little sketchy in my book. If the merchants are at $50, $60, $70 and there's a whole bunch of them, that's a good sign right there. We have good reviews. We have a lot of people selling as a merchant. If there's a few people selling as an FBA seller as well, 3, 4, 5, that's another good sign right there. So in my book, it's all about the risk and the reward, right? Are you willing to risk 4 to sell a book for 75? Because it's kind of like playing professional baseball. You can win 3 out of 10 times and fail 7 out of 10 times and make the Hall of Fame. The same stands true with selling books. You can get yourself into high risk books in a sense that are higher ranked, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, if the risk and the reward weighs out, because I'd risk 4 to make 50, right? You know, I could play that game 10 times and only win once or twice and double, triple, quadruple my money. Now, you do have to understand that Amazon has changed a bit, that the book selling business, a year ago, you'd be able to have one book in your inventory and you wouldn't be hit with a long-term storage fee. Essentially, that's an additional fee that they're hitting you with every 6 months that actually adds up to a significant amount of money. Before, you could actually have one book and you wouldn't be subject to getting hit with that long-term storage fee. Now, any book that you have in your inventory, any SKU, whether it's 1, 2, or 3, you're going to get hit with that long-term storage fee. So you have to be careful. You don't want to be hit with those long-term storage fees. So if you have a higher ranked book, 2, 3, 4 million, it could sit for 6, 12 months. On the other side of the coin, I've had books that are 3, 4, 5 million with good reviews that sold in a couple of days. So would I buy a book for $4 that's selling for 70, 75? It depends. If there's no reviews, if the merchants are really low, if there's not a lot of, maybe there's a bunch of FBA sellers, a bunch of merchants, but the price is really, there's a wide gap, then I might pass on it. But if it's $1, then I'd probably take that risk because I can make that bet 25 times, win twice, and still win and come out a winner. So that's my thought process on that. Resale Hustler, what's going on? Was it clothing or books that you started with, Raiken? I actually started with bicycles. I started with selling road bikes, vintage bikes, mountain bikes on Craigslist. And then I moved into clothing and I was full-time for quite a while. I actually didn't get into books until probably a couple years after. Justin says, how long do you take at thrift store to search through all the books? Well, for example, at Savers and Goodwill in my area, since I know them like the back of my hand, I know what books, I go in there on a regular basis. I could be in and out within 10, 15 minutes. If I see a lot of books and I'm noticing that there's a good amount of fresh inventory that's come out, maybe I found a $50 book, I found a $30 book, I found a $40 book, just things look neat, things like organized. It doesn't look like the competition wiped it out. I'll spend 30, 45, 60 minutes, but I'm not a full-time bookseller, right? If I was a full-time bookseller, that's all I did, and I had my Bluetooth scanner with me, you know, I might spend an hour scanning through all the books. And that's the way that you're going to find most of the books. I have some good friends locally who are full-time booksellers, and all of them, a common trait that they have is they have a Bluetooth scanner. A lot of them have the FBA scan. They have the trigger set up and they go through and they scan all the books. They don't pick and choose, kind of like I do since I'm part-time. And my time is very limited with all the different businesses I'm running. But if you're part-time like me, and you want to make a couple hundred extra bucks a month or a couple thousand, I would pick and choose. I would get to know your local thrift stores, get to know what books are new, what books are old, and I would pick and choose. A little tip for you guys is get to know your local Goodwills. What is the newest color? And focus on that because that's the fresh inventory. Figure out what are the colors that have been sitting around for a while. And really the colors are just stickers they put on the books as an indicator of how long they've been out. They cycle through the colors and then they do a half off sale here in Connecticut. So get to know what the newest color is. How do you find out? Go into the bins and find out what fresh inventory they're putting out. That's going to be the new color. Focus on that and scan, 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 or just pick around and scan the books that look interesting. Did you learn a bike hustle from Bonafide? Yes, I did. How about scanning with Bixby? I don't know what that is. Has it already started? I'm not seeing the stream. Just refresh. The stream has started a while ago. Foreign Girl 42, thanks for explaining the ranking. I was lost in buying. Yeah, I mean, ranking's very, very important because that's going to be an indicator of how long it's going to take to sell. Again, it's not a science. But it's really, really important to focus on good ranks. I would stick with ranks under 1 million. Under 500,000 is really where the money is, and those tend to turn a little bit quicker. But it's kind of like, your investment portfolio, right? You want to have stocks, you want to have bonds, you want to have some real estate, you want to be a little diverse, right? Certain things are going to be more aggressive, higher risk, quicker money. Other things are going to be a little more conservative, kind of like bonds versus stocks. So I like to have a diverse portfolio in terms of books, some higher rank, high profit items that may or may not sell. They might have to get kicked out 6 months down the road before the long-term storage fee. Then obviously having some books like, like these, you pick them up for 25, 50 cents. They sell for 10 or $11. These are just my own books that I'm not selling these. This is my personal collection, but it's good to have a diverse collection of, 10, 12, $13 books. I would even say stay with 12 or 13 because the fees are so high now that you have to kind of stick with like 11, 12, $13 books, especially if it's like a small soft cover book. But have some lower profit, high turn, easy to find books, and then have, some bigger, heavier books. A question that I had was, I actually just wrote it down. Somebody asked, what was it? Oh, here it is. Can you sell big, heavy books? Is it worth it? Yes, it is worth it. Just realize the heavier and the bigger the book is, the more it's going to cost you in fees and storage fees and everything. So the easiest way to determine should I buy a big, fat, heavy book is how much profit is in it, right? And if you use the Amazon Seller app, it will take into consideration the size and the weight based on the, whoever created the initial listing and put in the size, dimensions, and weight and everything. And it'll charge you a fee based on that. So you want to take a look at the profits per book when you're scanning, especially if you're new, to see if it's worth it, right? Because I wouldn't buy, like, for example, here's a book that I purchased at the thrift store. I bought it for myself. I'm big into working out. Maybe one day I'll look like Arnold. But this book right here, it has a 2000 rank, right? Arnold Schwarzenegger's book, Encyclopedia of Modern Bodybuilding. It's selling for $14.73. It's a really big, heavy book. It's a 2000 rank, 1200 reviews. Let's say I bought it for $1, right? I would make about $4 in fees after it's all said and done. Maybe $3.50 because the shipping is going to be a little bit more on this. But you're going to have to ask yourself, is it worth it to ship a book in like that? For me, with the rank being so low, the reviews being so high, there's not a ton of FBA sellers, only 20. I know Arnold Schwarzenegger has a huge following. I would ship this in and make $4. But if it was a book that was the same size and it was maybe like a 900,000 rank or a 2 million rank and it was only $3 or $4 profit, I might not ship it in just because it's so big and it's bulky and it's heavy and I don't know. That's just me. If you're more high volume and this is what you do full time, then you probably would do it. But you got to weigh that out, the risk and reward. Jessica Rivera saying, hola, I'm from East Hartford, learning so much from you. Cool, cool. You're about, I grew up in South Windsor over near Burnside Ave. It's and Long Hill Drive. That's the road, right? So you're about, I live in Ellington now. So you're about 30 minutes away. So maybe we'll go thrifting sometime. Hit me up. Oops. Alejandro asks, would you recommend to hold on to books with high ranks and high FBA fees after Q4? I mean, books sell really, really well. Q4 doesn't play a huge role in book selling. It's the time we have a Q4 like a couple times during the year, and that's right before, like a month before school starts. So that's the Q4 for book sellers. So, it doesn't really matter. Again, if there's good reviews, if the rank is there, right? And I know the rank, it depends, right? In terms of the profit margins, if it's a million rank or less and you've got a good profit margin there, I mean, I would hold on to it, right? But you want to be careful of those long-term storage fees because they do add up. Can you compete with college bookstores if you advertise to buy college students direct? Absolutely. I think you absolutely could. I would look into it and just experiment. People want cash. They want cash quick. I've never done it before, but I've heard of people setting up vans and going to college campuses. That's kind of sketchy, right? But actually buying books from the students. So what I would do is I would go check out the college campus, see what they're giving their students, see what the buyback the buy, what am I trying to say? Analyze what Amazon's paying to buy back the books. I know there's some other websites out there as well, and just see if you can compete. I'm not really sure, but I would look into it. I'm just looking through to see what questions you guys have. Gloria is asking, shipping is the hardest, weight or priority box size? So when you're shipping out to Amazon FBA, you'll actually get a really, really good rate shipping via UPS. So I actually use just a plain box that I get from either Lowe's or Home Depot. Costs me about $1 each. I usually use like 16 by 16 by 15s. I could usually get in like 45 pounds of books in there, 30, 40 books. Sometimes less if it's big textbooks. And again, if you have a FBA center that's somewhat near you, a couple states over, you can ship out 40 pounds for like $7. You know, you can ship for 20, 30, 40 cents a book, sometimes less. So shipping isn't very hard at all. You know, I use a software called Inventory Lab, which also gives me another scanning app called Scoutify, which is connected with Camel. If you don't know what I mean, look into it. But Inventory Lab makes it really, really easy for me to create my shipments. It makes it very easy for me to ship my labels. And it's, you know, it's one of those things. There's a lot of really great videos on YouTube in terms of how to ship your books into Amazon FBA. So there's really no point in me talking about it because I think you'll learn more by just visually seeing it. So type it into YouTube. There's a lot of great videos out there. I know my good friend Stefan Palerno's with Project Life Mastery. He has a video sharing step-by-step how to ship into the Amazon FBA warehouses. So go check out his channel. But shipping to Amazon, especially with books, is easy because there's not really any prep. You don't really have to clean the books too much. You just throw them in a box, label them with the F and SKU, which is the little label that you're going to cover over the back of the barcode. You're going to put everything in the box, put the labels on it, putting everything in the Amazon or Inventory Lab, weigh it, print out your label via UPS and drop it off or have them come pick it up. So it's actually really, really simple once you get the hang of it. But I understand how overwhelming it could be when you're first getting started shipping. Tom says, I got married at Ellington Ridge. Oh, cool, cool. Awesome. Thriller Gorilla says, I find most profitable books are children's books. I look for the latest movie coming out and pick them up. I sold a Wiggles book that I bought at a garage sale for 25 cents for 40 bucks. I didn't even know that. You know, I've sold some kids books in the past, but again, I'm not a huge book selling expert. I never knew that. That's a great tip right there. So Thriller Gorilla, thank you for dropping some knowledge on us. It's okay to add a note in the books just to ask the buyers to write a review. I probably wouldn't do that. I've noticed that first of all, I'm not 100% sure. Somebody help me out if you're allowed to do that. I want to say you're not allowed to do that. I'm actually pretty sure that you're not allowed to do that. But if you are, I probably wouldn't. I don't want to give them a reason to leave a review. On Amazon, it's a little different on eBay. I feel like if you ask, you're asking for trouble. I don't know. Let me know what you guys' opinion on that, but I wouldn't do it. We'd love to know more about kids' books. I have 6 Gaylords full of books. Start scanning them, right? Start scanning some books and even start searching YouTube. There might be some good videos on it. I'm not sure, though. Thriller Gorilla says, I have an Amazon FBA warehouse 30 minutes away. Can you drop them off there? No, you cannot. You have to ship it in. Mainly Myrtle, I'm not going to get an answer. I'm outie. There's so many questions coming in. Let me see if I can get your question. Don't leave. Where is it? Am I invisible? You are visible, Mainly Myrtle. Let me see if I can get your question. Where are you? You got to understand, there's a lot of questions coming in right now. There are a lot. So I'm looking for you. Okay, I think I found it. How do you load a scan if you aren't buying it? How do you load a scan? I'm not sure what you mean by that. You know, to scan books is very easy. You just have to download the Amazon Seller app. And as long as you have an Amazon account, you can scan books and it'll bring up all the information. So I'm not sure what you mean by how do you load a scan if you aren't buying it. Maybe you can drop a comment below. You are visible. Aside from books, what is the best category to start with? Something that definitely isn't restricted. You know, besides books, there's a lot of different items. I like to mess with board games. right? Here's a Shrek Monopoly board game that I'm going to be shipping off soon. I've actually got a couple other cool ones over here. Where is it? Did anybody watch the first episode of Walking Dead last night? Yes, it came on. Here's a Walking Dead board game. I love selling board games. I don't know. I love selling media in general. I know I still have to ship out my Catan board game that I found for $3.99. I'm actually going to have to sell this eBay because they restricted me. But I like selling board games. I used to love CDs and DVDs, but a lot of people are restricted. Groceries as well, but a lot of people are restricted. Electronics are a good item to mess with, but I would warn you that if you're going to sell used electronics on Amazon, be very careful. Make sure it's working properly. Sometimes people will return it, give you negative feedback because they don't necessarily understand how to use the electronic item. But there's a lot of categories. Clothing is another great category to sell, and it's very easy to get ungated. All right, I'm going to take a look at some of the questions that I had before. What's the lowest book? What's the lowest amount of a book worth sending in? It really depends. You're going to have to look at the Amazon seller app. So scan the book and put in your purchase price. And then obviously you're going to have to weigh out the risk and reward. What's the rank, the reviews, what's the profit margin? How much do you have to spend? You know, would I spend $1 to make $2.50? Well, if it's a book that's, you know, a 27 rank like this book, then I would do it. Absolutely. But if it's a 500, 800,000 rank book to make $2, I'm probably not going to do it. How do you make a listing for selling books? You actually don't have to make your own listing. The cool thing about Amazon is the listings they're already created for like 99.9% of the books. So essentially what you're doing is you're piggybacking on the listing. So you're just jumping on top of it. I know it's kind of hard for you to understand if you've never done it before, but you don't have to create your own listings. You can actually sell underneath that listing. So if you go to a listing and you see there's like 40, 50 different sellers, that's all they're doing. They're just piggybacking on the listing. How do FBA storage fees work? There's monthly and then there's long-term storage fees on Amazon. If you go into the description, it's the third link down below. I provided a link for the long-term storage fees. So there's a standard size fee based on per cubic foot. So I believe January through September, it's 64 cents per cubic foot for a standard size item. October through December, Q4, it's $2.35 per cubic foot. They're obviously trying to save on space. And if you have an oversized item, it's going to be a little different as well. So if you take a look at that link, third one down below, you can see what I'm talking about in terms of the fees, or you can just take a look at the app when you're scanning. Let's see if we have any more questions coming in. Hey, if you guys are enjoying this video so far, do me a big favor, guys, and hit that like button down below. I see we got 69 people watching right now, so be sure to smash that like button. Leave a comment down below. And also, if you want to learn more about the FBA storage fees, you can check it out down below. If you want to check out the free book that we have, it's called 100 Amazing Items to Resell. These are 100 items that we sell in our business. And when I say we, my partners in the green room, we have a little private membership site, but we have a free book that we put together. So you can check that out down below. It's the second link. How does Amazon choose the price to sell the book? How do they choose your book to sell versus others they have? Well, there's something that's called a buy box. So if you ever go to purchase something on Amazon, they'll give you like an option to purchase, but then you could actually go into the merchants and the FBA sellers. So I'm not sure in terms of how Amazon creates their price. And there's an algorithm for getting the buy box, you know, based on, you know, reviews and your pricing and your selling history and conversions and whatnot. But I like to price my books based on the competition, based on the rank. So, you know, if I have a book that's selling for, maybe the merchants are starting at 12, FBA starting at 16, it's a great rank. I'll either match the lowest FBA seller, or sometimes I'll go a little higher, second, third, fourth in line, just based upon the sales velocity, the reviews, how popular it is, if it's right before school season. So there's a lot of factors to consider. How do you sell your book on Amazon? Well, essentially what I do is I scan it, analyze it, realize it's a good deal, find a bunch of books, 20, 30 books, package them all up into a box and ship them off to the Amazon FBA warehouses. So FBA is fulfillment by Amazon. When it sells, Amazon will pick it, from their warehouse. They'll pack it up, they'll ship it to the customer, provide any customer service that's necessary, and then essentially send me a check at the end of the month. So that's pretty cool. Do you have a tutorial on how to open an Amazon FBA account? I tried doing it and went wrong. I don't have one. I don't really like to make basic videos like that, just because I just don't find them very fun. And also because there's so many other people who have already created those videos. So just go on Amazon, Jessica, and type in, starting an Amazon FBA account. And I'm sure there's a ton of videos. Also, if you go to Amazon and contact support, they'll walk you right through it. How do you run all your businesses and still make great videos? It's a cycle. I don't focus on my book selling business all the time. I don't focus on affiliate marketing all the time. I don't focus on YouTube all the time. I don't focus on, Shopify all the time. So I kind of cycle through things, and, I manage my time. I figure out each day a couple things that I could do to make an impact, and I do the best I possibly can. Having structure, being organized. I like to use Trello, Google Sheets, Google Docs. I have virtual assistants that are helping me with various parts of my business and everything. So, just managing everything, just putting priorities in line. Awesome. Kat just ordered her scanner last night. So I think that's about it. I'm going to get running. I have to record an episode of the Raiken Profit Show coming up at noon with Anna Hill. We're going to be talking about bookkeeping and accounting for e-commerce sellers, eBay and Amazon sellers. And also I'm going to be talking to Nick Hills about his eBay business. So I've got to get going. I've got to get ready to go record those shows, but want to come to you guys with this video. If you learned something or you have any more questions, you just enjoyed the content, do me a big favor if you could, and hit that like button down below. If you have a Facebook group or you have any following, share this video with somebody that you feel that it could benefit and help. Book selling it's not easy. It's not for everybody. Not everybody's going to have an opportunity based upon where you live, but it's a great way to get started in reselling, and Amazon's only growing more and more. And it's just a great way to get in cheap. If you don't have a lot of money, if you only have a couple $100, books are a great way to get started. I love private label. I love the idea of wholesale and Shopify, but a lot of those business models take a lot more money, a couple $1,000 or more. So if you don't have a lot of money, or you're just getting started or on a budget, books are a great way to get started. So hopefully you found value in this video. If you did, like the video, comment, subscribe for more content. I've got a lot more videos on my channel, like 1,300 or 1,200. So check them out. But I appreciate you all. Have a great day, and keep on picking and making that money. And I'll talk to you soon.